First thing that we're working on today is plating off the deep sea area. So this is where the boats park, and it was just blue base plate before, but now it's blue, dark blue, and also black. So yesterday's project was the water. We wanted to continue working on that water, but unfortunately we ran out of parts to do so, but that doesn't mean we can't get it all plated off. So we hauled up all the other plates, working on that, and I also want to work on the train yard as well. So yesterday I actually started at the Lego store, loaded up 5 pad boxes, then came here, continued to work on the water, made the transitional plate with the lighthouse, improved the cove, did all the water detail by the boat launch, and had a good time with that. And I was going, no, we're out of parts. So I went back to the Lego store and bought 5 more boxes. So now my recycle bin here is slowly being filled with empty pad boxes. I bought 3 boxes of the dark trans blue cheese slopes. I think that's gonna be enough, but unfortunately they didn't have any of the 1x4 tiles. I'm just hoping that they have some next week. But even for the underlying plate, we're still running out of some of the small, like 1x blue colors, so like 1x2s. Oh, there's some. There you go, 1x2s. That's what we need. We need those in regular blue and dark blue, like 1x3s, 1x4s, stuff like that. So I'm just going through this big bin of sorted plate here and pulling out all the blue so we can try and get this project done. At least get a head start, right? I need to do a bunch of sorting, and I plan on doing that I think tomorrow because I have the new part system here with all the overflow drawers, and I just need to get that system finalized. Yeah, just got to go through and find the parts we're looking for. We've got to do some mills plating here, everybody. Holy smokes, that's a lot of studs. There's 3, 6, 9 48x48 gray base plates, and then there's all these 32x32 base plates over there as well. I've got this old train engine shed here, which was from the Bricklink designer program. So cool. That's going to be here in the train yard. But essentially this is going to become the train yard, and same with this over here, but this is more of like a harbor train yard area. Now I was thinking I could just use road plates, but honestly it's so dark gray over here already. I need some color in this region. So I think I'm going to mills plate the entire train yard region with green plate. That's a lot of 4x4 green plates. How many is it? I don't know. It's a lot. Plus a lot of underlaying brick, but I think it's going to be worth it. I showcased this mills plate in yesterday's video. So this is what the underlaying tile and plate work looks like for a curve track. And there's all the ballast tracks that I have ready to go. So at least I don't have to ballast the track, but I'm gonna have to create a bunch of mills plates and then the tile work. Yeah, it looks so clean like that. And I think the green is gonna be a nice pop of color amongst like the dark gray sea that we have over there. Mills plate construction is done. We've got 6 48x48 base plates, 5 32x32s, and then this one here, which is 3 half base plates long. We built these using the brittle pieces, which I think worked out quite well. It's funny when you look right at it, you can sort of see like the little gap between the plates. Sort of unnoticeable though, especially when we cover it with tiles and trains. And these are all the broken pieces from the construction of these plates. Honestly, the pieces aren't too bad. When you take them apart, they might break. Like that. But hopefully we just don't have to take these apart. Odds are if we do have to take them apart, the green plate's probably all going to be garbage. But it was like 3 cents apart, which is super cheap. Maybe once I get one off, the other ones will come off a bit easier. If I had 2 hands, I could probably ease it off there. Nope, that one broke too. So yeah, it's definitely not the best for taking it apart, but as long as you don't have to. Because if it's already built, you can push on it and they're not going to break or anything. So it's sort of like a one-time use green plate, which is pretty funny. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I ordered 4,000 plates, 2,000 which were supposed to be brittle and 2,000 which were supposed to be normal. I got them on bricklink.com and they ended up shipping me 4,000 brittle plates. I've got 2,000 non-brittle plates that are still in shipping right now as they're shipping me replacements. But I ordered 2,000 of these just to test them out because 2,000 of them cost me $105, which is really quite reasonable. And just for building mills plates, it's not too bad. But as you saw there, they are quite fragile. Even just that makes all the difference in the world. Like, wow, this place is completely transformed. You'll notice that I use this plate. That's because I plan on transferring all of this tile work, and why rebuild another plate? I just transfer that off and it's good to go. This is like regular green plate, and you can see there's a slight color difference. You notice that? That's pretty funny. So these ones, not only are they brittle, but they're a slightly different color as well. Pretty interesting. Doesn't really bother me because grass is different shades of green, so it doesn't really matter that they're a different color. But yeah, look at that. Completely transformed. So I decided to embed the old train engine shed over there, and I'll have 2 lines feeding to it. I'm gonna have to switch out this because this is a custom built train track. So I've got to switch it out for the regular ballast track. Plus I've got to switch that to black because all my ballast ties are black. So I'll have to make that change. And then I've got to start laying out the ballast lines here and decide where they're going to go, and then lay a copious amount of tile to accommodate those. But yeah, this is already looking really good, especially from afar too. Just really helping with the look of the face of the Lego city. And you can see all this plate work has been done now as well. Thank you so much, Simon. That's just a huge help. That's incredible that we got that done. That's awesome. Just got to get more of those 1x4 tiles. I've got enough cheese slopes to do it. Yeah, I can put these boats back where they belong. Because that's not where you belong there, Coast Guard. What are you doing? This is what I've come up with so far for the track layout. So there's a switch right there. This is going to lead to the old train engine shed. Another switch there. That should line up nicely. Then there's a switch here, another switch, followed by another switch. And I've put these like at different angles. So that one sort of curves, and then there's a larger gap, and then there's the standard 8-stud gap between these 2 lines. That might look pretty cool because we've got some space here beside the old train shed. Then there's 2 close lines, and we've got some more space. Whereas if I have them all tightly grouped together, I can't really put train yard detail between the lines. And then there's going to be a bunch of space on this side as well, and a bunch of space here, and a lot of space there, so we'll be able to add all sorts of different details. And then I think I'm going to rebuild my train engine shed, and this line's going to come in like this, and it'll be left aligned so I can put all the workshop and tools on the right side, and then there can be a small walkway on this side. And then I've got to rebuild all this just because this is like one of my original mocks that definitely needs some work. But I think that's going to go in the foreground, and then the other train engine shed is going to go in the background. And once I get this fully developed with like the tiles underneath, and I get all these ballast tracks all fixed up, then I can go through and I can add like little mini builds and details and stories. And I can also fence off this entire area. And this fence is actually going to match the old train engine shed fencing. It's like this rubber cable. And that's also going to match the fencing that I decided to add to the harbor here as well. So I was looking at the harbor. It's a lot of dark gray. And I was thinking about the trains or the train tracks that lead into here. It's like, yeah, the black ties and the dark gray track, like it's a lot of dark gray. So how can I brighten this up? What I'm going to do is make the track in here fluorescent pink. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to use all of this stuff here. And this actually used to be my raised train track. And I'm actually going to make the train lines inside here all light gray. And I'm going to make it so it's actually 16 studs wide, and the track is embedded in the center, and then everything else is tiled off in light gray. So then when you look down where the trains are sort of embedded in this raised area, you're going to see light gray. And that's going to break up this color a little bit, even though buildings and vehicles and structures and stuff will help break it up as well. I just think a nice pop of light gray running throughout this entire area here and also here, so on both lines, will look pretty cool. Now I just put all these construction vehicles and forklifts and stuff right here. I just bombed them on here. It's for sure not like what's gonna happen. Like there's the Joker, but this definitely won't be present in the train yard. Eventually it's all gonna be like customized details, nicely fenced off and all that stuff. I just gotta get the foundation laid before I start working on some of those details. Even though I did put this in there, it's like the double wide overhead crane and also the double wide command center or control tower, I should say. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool, but eventually there's going to be a lot more details, such as like sea cans. Maybe we could put like a big stack of sea cans back here that are being loaded onto the boats and tell all sorts of different stories with different mini builds and minifigures. It's just the process of getting there. It just takes a little bit of time because I want to worry about the track layout and configuration before I start worrying about mini builds. So I set up my little train track factory here upstairs, and this is what I whipped up. Nothing too crazy, just the 4x6 plates coming off the edge there, and they're inset 2 studs. So this is now 16x16 studs, and then I just filled in the 1x2s between the tracks, and that allows me to put the tiles like this here. And I put a 2x along the edge, like a 2x plate, and then I can put the 1x plate there, or sorry, 1x tile there. And I think this is gonna look nice down there. I know it's not proper, like it should be train tracks, like ballast train tracks with the ties, but once again, I think that this is just gonna help break up that dark bluish gray color. So I've got to build a bunch of these. I've built 4 so far. Like I was mentioning, I've got all these here so I can scavenge parts from here. Also, I accidentally ordered a bunch of 2x4 tiles in light gray instead of dark gray, so those are coming in handy now. Now these I used to use for my raised line, but I can't say that the raised line is going to be back until the mountain construction is done. And let me tell you, that's going to be a while because I've got a lot of mountain plates to build. Like, it is pretty wild, but I want to wait till the mountains are finished, just because for the most part the raised line will probably be like on the mountain edge and built into the mountain and probably going through the taller peaks of the mountain, which are going to be dark bluish gray, not green, like the start of the mountain that I've been building. So that's a ways down the road, like a year or 2 down the road. So I feel comfortable just scavenging from these if need be, right? Because I can reorder more parts when I'm rebuilding the raised train line. So yeah, all good. I'm excited about that. The mountain project is going to be epic. Some people have been concerned that there's a lack of dark bluish gray, but don't worry, there's going to be a whole nother tier above that green, and it's going to be like towering over the peak of Ninjago City. It's going to be huge. The amount of parts that has to go into it, a lot. But it's just a goal to work. It's a goal to work toward. I'm really happy with my decision to convert these tracks to 16 studs wide and also all light gray, because once again, it just breaks up that color nicely. And they're still sunk in a little bit. It's about a brick with 3 plates. I haven't actually tacked it down yet. I don't even think it needs to be tacked down, just because gravity is sort of doing its thing there. And it transitions into the 16 stud wide light gray over there. There's still some blending work that has to be done right there where we transition from the low ground to the high ground here in the harbor. That looks pretty sweet though. Also, all the ballasting has been fixed up. So the curves and the straights are done. However, I didn't get a chance to do the switch tracks. None of my switch tracks are ballast at this time, just because it takes a tremendous amount of parts and weird parts to ballast switches. I use the L gauge standard, and what I need to do is go on the L gauge website, create a wanted list on Bricklink using their instructions for ballasting switches, and then I need to place some massive orders for ballasting them. I just have never gotten around to doing that because I've one look at the parts list and I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. That's wild. I don't know if I want to do that, but I definitely need to do it because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 switch tracks in this small area that need to be ballasted. And once they are ballasted, this area will look a lot better. But I'm loving the look of this here. I think the tracks are nicely spread out. We've got lots of space to create details around the tracks. And this has been fully converted as well. So that is now connected to the train track. Just had to switch it up so that we're using standard RC track and it can connect to my ballast lines. So that looks really good. And that's the same with the line that pulls into the garage there as well. Now, something else that I decided to do is actually empty my train bin and try and piece them all back together. They're not quite perfect yet, but they're getting there. So I've got the heavy haul train, which is the red one here, and some of it's cargo. Then there's 2 of the blue cargo trains. They still need some repairs on top. And some of the cargo is taken apart as well. I'll have to try and put it back together or just create some custom wagons or cars. That would probably be ideal. And then there's also this green cargo train with the crane, couple containers, and also the wood. So not bad. We've got all those cargo trains. Then over here we have all our transport trains. So we've got 2 trams from Lego City Sets. This car right here, or these 2, are from the Studgate train station. Then there's also the green passenger train, the green and black one there. And then I had 2 of the yellow and blue passenger trains, and I put them back to back I don't know where we're gonna run all these. I need the raised line because there's still only 2 individual lines that can run in the city. So that's the big one right here that goes around the entire perimeter, and then there's also the amusement park line, which will go around the amusement park and underneath the mountain there and pass through the train station. Plus the main line has the option of passing through the train station as well, and the amusement park line is gonna have the Hogwarts Express and also the Disney train. So we could probably get 3 going simultaneously, I would say, because the outer perimeter line is so big that you can space it out quite easily. You can get 2 trains going on the outer perimeter line, and then the amusement park line, you could probably get 1 going. So right now, I could probably get 3 going, and then when we get the raised line built, whatever that might be, I should be able to get a 4th going as well. So the next thing that I need to do is go through and add all of the tiles underneath the train tracks. And you know what? I'm gonna pull one of these lines on you here. I am gonna sleep on this layout, because could you imagine if I did all the tile work for all of this and then I decided to change like one of the tracks? It'd be like, oh no, I've got to redo all of that tile work yet again. So I'm probably gonna sleep on this layout just because you never know, I might wanna change something, and tiling it will take a long time. I'm feeling really happy with the progress that we were able to make today. The green in the train yard, the ballast lines, and also the light gray track in the harbor area, I think they look fantastic. Really happy with that. Big shout out to Simon. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate all the help that you've given me this summer. He's got about 2 more shifts this summer, and then he's going back to school. But wow, we've got lots done together, and it feels pretty good to have him here a couple days a week. I'm hoping that the kids are going to start daycare. They've been on a waiting list for quite some time. So I'm hoping that when they get enrolled in daycare, hopefully in September, that Mrs. Brixie's going to come back to work and help me here in the studio with building the Lego city and doing all the behind the scenes stuff as well. So we can continue building this Lego city. It's crazy though, after mill splitting all of those plates in the train yard, we ran out of 2x2 bricks. So if I want to continue building, guess what? I'm gonna have to order some more 2x2 brick because I keep running out. Yeah, so I'll have to get on that right away as well. That's really about all I have time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the near future. And boy, oh boy, I think that looks awesome. Farewell.